Unwritten Law's picture is beside revolving door in the dictionary. Before Scott Russo became the face of Unwritten Law, drummer Wade U-Man would assemble the first version of the band with lead singer Chris Moosey and several others. Here's the Wikipedia chart so I don't have to read the 19 dudes that have rocked out in Unwritten Law. Even Wade U-Man has left and came back to the drum kit twice, leaving Scott Russo as the only current member to have performed on every Unwritten Law record. Steve Morris appears on every record up until The Hum is released, having broken the law, so to speak, in 2011. But enough drama, let's talk about music. Poway, California is where this grassroots band formed in the earliest of the 90s, 1990. Scott Russo and the gang paid their punk rock dues in dive bars and dingy venues for 2 years before honing their sound. They would lay to tape in late 1992, the legendary 6-song demo. Most of these songs would be reupholstered for their debut called Blue Room, which was first branded by Red Eye Records and finally on Epic a year later. Before that, however, the band powered through a 7-inch record entitled Blur with 3 songs, which Wade actually did some backing vocals on. Poway is part of the San Diego area, and the burgeoning punk scene was bubbling over in a big way around the time that the Unwritten Men hit the scene with a swell of pop-punk acts, most notably one Blink-182. The Blue Room album didn't have any official singles, although Shallow, Suzanne, and Crazy Poway Kids, CPK for short, were early indicators of big dreams to come. Follow your dream! Unwritten Law were living their dreams when Greg and Brad of Bad Religion joined the work on Oz Factor, with Greg Graffin producing and Brad Baker shredding away about a person named Suzanne. While Lame didn't do much on the band's career, Superman and Denied boosted their ranks as the California scene held them up on their musical merit. The band continued their new relationship with Bad Religion, supporting them on tour, and I've got to say, I'm a bit bummed out that nobody took me to see one of these shows when I was 11 years old. The critical reception was mixed to bad. But I'm standing up for the band here, and I'm going to say that those backhanded compliments about sounding like NoFX, Bad Religion, and Green Day, those are front-handed compliments in my book. Along with Bad Religion, Unwritten Law would also travel the world alongside even more California bands such as Blink-182 and Pennywise. Man, I wish I had dropped out of middle school and ran away to California. In 1997, Unwritten Law would part ways with bassist John Bell, already the second bassist in a string of 5 bassists total. Now, 1999 is when I discovered Unwritten Law with their very first charting single, Kaylin. Much like Good Riddance reels you into a world of snottery and shenanigans, so does Kaylin with its sugary sweetness. Jimmy Eat World reference. It also was in a cult film called Idle Hands, which got it in the hands of more Idle fans. Punk rock! Like any good self-titled album, 1998's Unwritten Law was the moment of truth, a sign of the times, and signed on the dotted line for the record company as the times they are a change. And also, the lead singer of Incubus plays the didgeridoo on this album. While the band gained a worldwide following, the fandom blood ran thick in the outbacks of Australia. The band had focused more energy down under than up yonder for much of their career. Each of these 3 releases contained evolved elements, yet the sonic shift from their 2002 record was more than just a skip and a hop away from the Blue Room album. Self-titled had a few extra hands on deck and instruments, but Elva contained 15 freaking musicians contributing to the sound and production. The most notable being Tony of No Doubt fame and Josh Freese of Every Song Ever. It's also described as post-grunge, alternative, and hard rock. And whether Elva is calculated elf of the bright light or not, it's got some of my personal favorite songs on it. Rest of My Life, Seeing Red, and Up All Night are perfect samplings of what this band has to offer this sick and dying world. Emo Kid Forever. I also like the poppy stuff by this band. Also, if you want to hear Tom DeLonge singing Up All Night, it's on Elva's tail end. Between Elva and Here's to the Morning, Unwritten Law released an acoustic album that wasn't really part of the plan. According to Wicca Legends, VH1 were eyeballing Jimmy Eat World to do an acoustic set for them as a part of a series. They got connected with Unwritten Law's people instead, and at this point, the band were not on great terms with Interscope, so they transitioned to Lava, who put out Music in High Places, and with the acoustic version of Rest of My Life doing well within the United States of America charts, it was a wise decision. Oh yeah! America and Australia and Blink-182 love UL and DAC. She's so smart and independent. Oh wait, we started this video by stating that Unwritten Law is like a propeller strapped to a revolving door of members, right? Titanic, the propeller, this time, threw in some very interesting choices, with Adrian Young of No Doubt, drumming fame, sitting in on the drum chairs. There were others, but gosh dang, it's like an unwritten law that nobody can stay in Unwritten Law for more than 5 minutes. This is ridiculous. Here's an interesting tie-in to another band. Scott Russo's girlfriend in 2005 co-wrote most of the lyrics on Morning with him. And they even did a side project called Scott and Amy. Aw, that's so sweet. But that's not the most interesting part. That's the sweet part. This Amy Allen now goes by a different name. Amy Interrupter. And she is the lead singer of The Interrupters! I've been burned for the last time! Even though members were being tossed out of the lineup left and right, Here's to the Morning was the band's biggest success yet, with the stellar Save Me being a sing-along anthem for the static ages. It's both sad as hell and insanely catchy, the perfect formula for song. Perhaps due to the spike in interest and also so many band members being ejected into the punk rock oblivion or moving on to other bands like Papa Roach, Unwritten Law would re-record all of their greatest hits for the hit list, which was released in 2007. If you were to look at the studio albums alone, this time period is a massive gap in the band's discography. Morning was released in 2005, and the next full-length album would not happen until 2011's Swan, what some would call the band's crowning achievement, and what some thought was their swan song. But if we look closer, 2006 to 2010, it wasn't a time for Unwritten Law to simply cash in on greatest hits collections. 2008 was a year of the Live and Lawless album, and in 2009 and 10, the band did do some sporadic touring, but it was their least active touring year, with only 7 shows between those 2 years of 2009 and 2010. Swan came out 6 years after Morning and features a cover that looks almost identical to the RHCP album that came out the same year. Is that a coincidence? Let's blame that one on Unwritten Law fans, since they designed the artwork that time around. And I've been avoiding the nasty bits the whole time, but Unwritten Law seemed to keep having fights break out between band members. In 2005, guitarist Rob Brewer was fired from the band after getting into a fight with Scott Russo. Then, in 2011, guitarist Steve Morris was attacked by the lead singer, leading him and bassist Pat Kim to leave the Unwritten fold. What is happening with Scott Russo that all his bandmates want to fight him? Is it him, or does this band just like hiring crazed axemen? While all 3 parties involved released statements, and I'll let you decide for yourself with the statements made to Music Feed up on the screen. In summary, Scott Russo says that Steve Morris was screaming in his face and threatening him, so he punched him. Steve Morris says Scott Russo had numerous problems and incidents with band and crew alike over years, And this was just the straw that broke the camel's back. You can read this entire thing if you would like. Got it up here on the screen now. As serious as these statements are, that last bit of text is hilarious. Permanent replacements. Wonk, wonk, wonk. There's no excuse for assaulting anyone, but upon looking at Unwritten Law's touring history, it's easy to understand how these guys could be strained. Starting in 1993, they have toured every single year all the way up to 2022, and it looks like there are no signs that they are slowing down. Unwritten Law have never taken a break. Even the human wheels were literally falling off of this band. Swan spawned 3 signets with Starships and Apocalypse, Sing, and Nevermind, while the band never took a breath, touring the poop out of the world. Non-stop touring continued, and we also got another acoustic set with the creatively titled Acoustic on April Fool's Day 2016. Touring, touring, touring! Very interesting set list with guests of all stripes and relations. Kaylin Russo, the daughter of Scott, is now a model and singer, and she's worthy of her own story, and she's been performing with the band. She's also going to make an appearance on the new record, which is very interesting. Still Pounding the Pavement in 2022. Scott Russo and Wade U-Man have reunited as lead singer and founding drummer with a fresh batch of 3 guitarists to punch in the face at a moment's notice. Sorry, Unwritten Law. These new guitarists, for the moment, are Chris, Johnny, and Scott. And while we're here talking about Unwritten Law, let's take a moment to remember Ed, Mike, RJ, Danny, Jeff, John, Rob, Steve, Pat, Tony, Dylan, Kevin, Derek, and the one and only member of UL, not to have a basic butt name, Ace. All of you served Unwritten Law well and were punched before your time. Again, Unwritten Law, I'm sorry. Please don't punch me. I love you. We are now in 2022. The Hum is vengeful. It's their first studio album in a decade. And the band says this about the Hum. It's classic SoCal punk rock sound with massive guitars, monster hook-filled choruses. The artwork includes hand-illustrated lyric sheets done by founder U-Man. They also wanted us fans to spread the word and watch their YouTube videos, which is an excellent punk rock thing to do. I like that. I encourage that as well. Hit the like button, subscribe, and all that stuff. It's on Cleopatra record label. It comes in purple and white for the vinyl release and digipack for the CD connoisseur. It's also being released on July 29th, 2022. The track list is very cool and unique and interesting. 15 songs with a 4-part lunar cycle spread throughout the track list, with the moon waxing, full, waning, and finally becoming new. Is The Hum a concept album about werewolves? Very likely. And remember young Kaylin? She's singing with dear old dad on a track, like I mentioned before, which has been debuted live, called Little Lies. And here is the track list for The Hum. Unwritten Law's latest single and music video is out now for Ghosted, with a follow-up already in the works. Ghosted is a mid-tempo burner with a big old chunky chorus that relates to the forests of my mind and yours. The verses bounce in fervor in a fever dream, serving the big old chunk. It's stalkerish and creepy and darn catchy. 4.8 out of 5. Thank you for watching this video, and if you happen to have some extra dollar bills laying around your house or your mansion, please consider buying me a coffee or even checking out my Patreon, which is over there with 3 different pretty cool tiers from $3, $5, and $7. If you happen to be the first person to sign up on Patreon, I might just make it worth your while. Thank you.